class, we were doing the question in the practice sheet. In this, the question number 3 is asking
Sir,
that we insert two sentences during the azan of Fajr. The first sentence is As-salatu khairum minan naum. Prayer is better than sleep, and it is said by two times. Okay. And the second blank is, and they are after saying, the second blank is Hayya alal falah. It means that hurry or come quickly towards the success. Rise up for salvation, said two times. It is said by
Excuse
two
me, sir.
times. Yes, you are saying something?
Excuse me, sir. Can I send you this today because yesterday it was incomplete?
Yes, I am saying the same thing. Everybody should have to send now. This is the last question. Everybody should have to send not now. After the period, you can send this assignment. The picture of these practice sheet you can send me in the mail on the class slide. Just whatever you have wrote
sir,
in the papers, just take a picture, send it to me on the mail. Where is the mail? In the class slide, there's an option for sending a mail to the teachers, to anyone. You can send the message of picture to me in the mail. Yes, Ayan, you were saying something?
sir, the practice sheet is didn't print till now.
Okay, you can write it in the notebook. You can write this answer in the notebook. It's okay. The point is, it's just for learning.
No, I'll try to print it from my father's computer.
Okay, okay. For example, if I ask you a random question, I'm just giving the example. For example, if I ask this sentence, Hayya alal falah, how many times this sentence said in the azan? So the right answer is two times. How many times
Excuse me, sir.
Allahu Akbar said in the azan? Do you guys know? I will tell
Four.
you, but I'm just asking. Do you guys know how many times Allahu Akbar said in the azan?
Four, four times, sir.
Good, that's good. So Ashal told the answer. Anybody else? How many times the Allahu Akbar said in the azan? We listen to azan 5 times a day. So it said 4 times. So these things are basically for the learning. Okay, we listen the azan. We always listen the azan because we always pray on the call of azan. But when we ask someone that what that word is, sometimes we know that thing, but our mind is not recalling them. Everybody knows this thing that it's a 4 time, but sometime it happens. So it's just for the understanding and for the learning. Now, if anyone asks you even in the university or after 10 years, 20 years, that how many times Allahu Akbar is coming, you will give the answer. Okay. So this is the question number 3. So everybody note it down.
Sir,
Yes, Ashal.
we didn't do 1A in the previous class.
Okay, wait for a second. 1A.
Yes, in this true false.
Yes. So, yes, Ashal. Do you know the answer, Ashal?
False.
There is a one sentence given in the 1A. What that sentence is? If you all see my screen, let me put the bar on that sentence. So I am putting the bar. Okay, the bar is there. Okay. So the number of sentences of calling for azan is 16. What do you think? There are 16 Quranic verses in the azan or not?
False.
Okay. So Ashal is saying it's false. What about the others?
False, I think.
Okay. So Tashriq is saying false. Ayan, Fahad, Khalid,
Sir,
Umar.
false.
Okay.
Sir, false.
Sir, it's false.
Okay. So by the way, how many are there?
False.
15.
It's false. It's a false. You are right. But by the way, how many words are there? Could you guys find it out?
15.
The answer is false. There are more.
Sir, 15.
Okay. So let's see. Let's see this one. I will reveal the answer in the next class. Only one student take a initiate to give the right answer. For this one, it's a false. But for the number of ayats, I will ask this question again. Just to check that you guys are getting the point or not, I will ask this question to everyone in the next class that how many Quranic verses or how many ayats are there in the Azan. This statement is false. The statement giving here is false. So you have to find the exactly one. Okay? And I will ask the answer. Everybody understand that point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me switch the screen. Wait for a second. The file is opening. So is this screen is visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's good. So in the last class, we see some sunnats of Azan. Okay. And we some see the some qualities of the Azan. So let take a review of that thing so that we can connect it with the next topic related to this one. Why I am reviewing it? Because some students miss the class so that they will also get the point. So the sunnats of Azan. Basically, Azan is a call towards the prayer, and the person who calls out Azan is called Muazzin. Okay, normally Muazzin calls out Azan from the higher point of a masjid. Okay, the place where that person is giving azan, it's at the high elevation, not that much high, but it's a high from the normal land. So what are the properties, qualities, conditions that muazzin needs to have? The muazzin, the person who gives the azan you heard at the time of prayer, before the prayer. So the name of that person, the rank of that person, the status of that person is a muazzin. So what things are needed to be a muazzin? The properties that muazzin needs to have are: the muazzin should be male, because in the previous lessons we see in the masjid the women, children, and sick people are exempted to attend the namaz in mosque. Namaz is first, they have to perform the namaz, but they are exempted to praying in mosque. Children, women, and sick persons, those who have some kind of disease or they are ill. So the muazzin should be the male. The person who gives the azan from the mosque, it should be the male. It is makruh for a woman to call azan. Okay, it is a makruh for a woman. What is meant by makruh? Makruh means the thing is halal but not favorable or not liked by the Allah. I am just giving you the example of divorce. In Urdu, we can say talaq. In English, it's a divorce. It's a separation between a husband and a wife. So, the divorce means the separation between husband and a wife. This thing is
Sir,
makruh in Islam.
Makru,
This thing
listen,
is makruh in Islam because Allah said, if you don't want to live with your partner, then you can have an option to leave. But this option is not liked by the Allah. It means that this thing is halal,
Excuse me,
but
sir.
not favorable and not liked. Okay? Yes?
Sir, I did the assignment and got two mistakes.
Okay, okay. So it's a makruh for a woman. It means that it's halal for a woman to give the azan, but it is not liked by the Allah because muazzin should be male in the mosque. Yes, Tashriq, you are right. Makruh is the middle of halal and haram. It's a kind of more than halal, more towards the halal because it is allowed by the Allah. Makruh is a thing which is allowed by the Allah, but not liked or not favorable by the Allah. So, in the specific condition, it is allowed. The muazzin needs to be sane. The word sane means sensible, understandable. The things muazzin can understand that what is cleanliness, what time is it. The person who is sensible, so that they can give the azan or time. So, muazzin should be sensible, have a knowledge, and have taqwa. Taqwa means cleanness, no proudness, everything related to the Islam should be completed. Means the person should be sensible, have a knowledge of the problems of the Islam. If someone asks anything related to the any religious issue, so they should have a knowledge to solve that problem. For example, I'm just giving you the answer. Just giving you the example. For example, if some person come to you and ask that in the wuzu it is necessary to wash the feet from the downside, it is necessary to wash the feet from the downside. So, for example, if anyone is asking this thing from the Muazzin, so Muazzin should have a knowledge. If the Muazzin doesn't have a knowledge, they will not give any reference. They will not give any thought on that. So that's why Muazzin should have a knowledge and taqwa. It is makruh for fasiks and sinners. Who are fasik? Fasik are the people, those who do much sins. The people who do guna, much sins in their life. So those are considered as a fasik. And ignorant people, the people who are not that much towards the Islam, the people who didn't perform the namaz so much. So ultimately, it is makruh for these people to call the azan. It means that Allah don't like the sinners. Allah don't like those people, those who didn't pray well or didn't pray much. So Allah said that you are not liked by me to give azan because it's a makruh. In specific condition, it's allowed, but it's not favorable or not liked by the Allah. It's halal if any person who do so much sins, okay, and the person who is ignorant or didn't pray well or pray one salah at a day or pray two salah or two namaz at a day. So ultimately, these ignorant people are not liked by the Allah even for calling the azan. So if an insane person call the azan, if an insane person call the azan, it needs to be called again. It is permissible for a children who is sane and mumayyaz. Okay. The word mumayyaz means able to discriminate and discern. To call azan, it means that a child is allowed to give azan who has sense. The child should be more than the age of 7, and the child who has a sense of things and able to pronounce and understand the words of azan and understand the things that this word is correct and this word is not correct. So that child can give the azan from the mosque. So third quality or the third property we need is a muazzin needs to have wuzu. Okay, this is the best thing or the recommended. Recommendation means, oh, that's good, Tashriq. That's a good thing. So Tashriq said that he gives the ikama many times. That's good. That's a very nice thing. Always try to participate in the Islamic thing. That's a great thing. So the muazzin needs to have wuzu when he calls azan, and he needs to call it by standing. So there are two things. The muazzin should have a wuzu, but it's recommended. It means that it's not necessary. It's recommended that muazzin should have a wuzu because after that azan, people have to perform the salah. So it's a good thing to have a wuzu. Okay. And the muazzin should give the azan by standing in the masjid. In the masjid, muazzin should have to give the azan by standing. It's not allowed in the masjid to give azan by sitting. So the second point is saying that there is no drawback, there is no issue, there is no problem to calling azan without wuzu. It's okay. As it is mentioned in your book that there is no drawback to calling azan without wuzu. It is makruh to call ikama without wuzu. Without wuzu, calling a ikamat. For example, the azan is going on. The people are making a wuzu. People are going towards the mosque and you listen. A person standing behind the imam and said Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. They are saying this thing, and after saying this ikamat, less than a 10 seconds, the salah starts. So this is a ikamat. So that ikamat is makruh. Saying that ikamat is makruh. Why? Because if the person has to perform the salah after 10 seconds, then how that person can perform the salah after saying the akamat without wuzu? So all these things are considered as a makruh because the namaz is not done without the wuzu. This is a basic condition. Whatever the situation is, if you doesn't have a water, you can make a tayammum. Islam is very easy and flexible religion. Okay, it's very easy and flexible and very understanding. See, if you doesn't have a water, you can make a wuzu from the sand. You can make a tayammum. That wuzu called as tayammum. Tayammum means you make a wuzu from the sand. For example, someone go to the desert and they forgot the route, or there's a time for salah and they doesn't have water, and they have to perform the salah at the time. So they can make wuzu from that sand. But there is a condition for making the wuzu from the sand, means there is a condition for making tayammum. The condition is that there should be no water available in the area, then the person can perform the tayammum. If the water is available near you or nearby you, so you can go towards the water and make a wuzu with the water. But if there is a critical or a crucial system, crucial area or crucial conditions, then you can make a wuzu from that sand. So
And s-
yes,
and sir, you cannot make wuzu with uh,
with the dirty water.
sand that is dirty.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's a basic concept.
Sir,
If the sand is dirty, if the water is dirty, then you cannot make the wuzu from it. See, for example, there is a water. If the color of water is changed, the color of wuzu water is changed, now it's a dirty water. You can't make the wuzu from it. You can't make wuzu from that water. For example, you are making a wuzu and the color of the water is not look normal, it's the color of the water is changed, so it's not possible to make a wuzu from that. Okay, so however it does not have to be called again. For example, someone do
Sir,
the ikamat without the wuzu, but ikamat would not be called again, but the namaz of that person would be not done, because without wuzu how that person will perform the namaz or the salah. Are you guys getting the point?
yes, sir. Sir, I have a question.
Okay, yes,
Yes,
what is the
sir.
question, Ashil?
sir, I have to tell you something.
Why is it not allowed to use dirty water to do wuzu?
Sorry, why it is not allowed to do what?
Why is it not allowed to use dirty water to do wuzu?
Ah, okay. See, it's a simple explanation. For example, if we have a 1 gallon water, do you know what is gallon?
No, sir.
Okay, you can say 1 bucket water. Okay, we have a 1 bucket of water. If we put, it's a clean water. If we put 1 drop of dirty water from the sewerage water is the dirty water. If we took 1 drop of water taken from the gutter and put it in the bucket, will that bucket be clean or not?
No, sir, it will be dirty.
It will be dirty. Why? For example, see another example. For example, there is a tea. There is a tea. In that tea, there is one insect is swimming, doing the swimming. Okay, we will saying it's dipped in the tea. It's doing the swimming. Will we drink that tea or not?
No, sir.
The tea is much in quantity, but the insect is little bit small. But we throw out the tea outside. Why? Because we know that this tea is now not drinkable. It's not good for the health. Why? Because that insect has a germs and they are dangerous for our health. In the same way, when the person make a wuzu from the dirty water, so the basic purpose of making wuzu is a cleanliness. Okay, you need to stand in front of the Allah in the form of cleanliness. And if someone is making a wuzu with the dirty water, then what is the purpose of that? Person can even standing in the namaz without wuzu, and the person is standing in the namaz with the dirty water. They both are same, because one person didn't make a wuzu, other person make a wuzu with the dirty water. So in the both cases, it is not possible to perform the wuzu with the dirty water and perform it. Why? Because the dirty water is the opposite of the cleanness. Our half iman as a Muslim, our half iman is based on cleanness. As you listen this sentence in Urdu, that safai nis iman hai, it means that cleanness is a half iman. So cleanness is our half iman. If someone is praying 5 times a day, respect the parents, respect elders, and care the younger ones, and do all the things related to Islam, then his or her half iman is completed. His half iman is left right now, and that half iman is cleanness. If the person is not clean, didn't clean his room, didn't clean himself or herself, okay, so that person is basically completing his half iman only. For example, person is doing a namaz and everything, but the person is not take care of bath every day or day after one day. So the person is now not taking a regular bath, so that person is basically not taking care of the cleanness. It's very much necessary to perform the namaz and salah to become clean. Now you understand, Ashal?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Thank you.
Okay, yes, Ayan, you were
sir,
saying something. So now, if you see, it is a makruh for a junub person to call ikama. It is makruh a person to for a junub person to call ikamat. If he does, he needs to be called again. If you notice one thing, when you go to the mosque, the person who is giving a ikamat, that person is standing behind the imam, and that person is standing exactly behind the imam and giving the ikamat. It is necessary. For example, if any person is who is on the left side or on the right side giving a ikamat, then it is necessary to give the ikamat again. Now there is no drawback calling azan by sitting. Okay, as I told you earlier in the above lines, that it is very much necessary to give azan by standing in the masjid. But remember, this giving azan by standing, it means that this azan is for the whole area. Okay, but the person can give the azan if that person is giving azan for himself. For example, if any person is in the desert, there is no mosque in the desert. If there is no mosque in the desert, nothing is there, so that person can give the azan for himself, because that person has to perform the salah, so that person can give the azan for himself. For himself, that person can give the azan by sitting. But for the mosque, they have to give the azan by standing. It is necessary to call the ikamat by standing. So these are the some points which are necessary for the namaz. Now the muazzin needs to call azan in a high place by turning towards the Kaaba. The muazzin should face the
Excuse me,
Kaaba.
sir.
Yes.
I finished the sermon and I got one mistake.
Okay. Okay. So muazzin should have to face the direction of Kaaba and he needs to turn the right. Okay, means move his head towards the right while saying the verse. While saying the Quranic verse, it's Hayya ala Salah. When the first that Muazzin is saying this sentence, then Muazzin has to be tilt or to be turned for some angle towards the right side and move towards the left side while saying again this sentence, the Quranic verse, it's a Hayya al Falah. If he calls it from the Minar, if he calls it from the Minar, he needs to turn to the Qibla and then move from right to the left around the Minar balcony. If that person is giving the azan from the Minar, so that person have to move from one area in a balcony in a one area they have to move it. So that's why they are giving the azan inside from the mosque from the higher elevation, so that they doesn't have to walk in the area, just have to move and give the azan. So when the muazzin calls azan and ikamat, he must not talk. There is a gap between the azan and the ikamat. So if that person, it is not allowed, that it is not good or not allowed to talk in between. Even if he is greeted while calling azan, he cannot reply at that time or later. For example, the person is giving azan, someone saying salam to that person. Okay, so it is not allowed. It is not allowed to give the answer to that salam or to get greeting, because he can't give the answer to that thing while saying or calling out azan. And it is makruh to speak little, and it is necessary to call it again if he speaks a lot. For example, if any person talks very much after saying azan and before saying the ikamat, in that time, if the person The person who is giving the calling out the azan and saying the ikamat talks very much in between that time. So that person should have to call it again. So that's why it is good if you are giving the azan, then be calm and be quiet and wait for the ikamat time. And when you set the ikamat, perform the salah, and then you can talk. It's a preferable one and the recommended one, that it's a best way. So these are the some qualities which is required in the imam or the muazzin. So the sunnats of hearing azan, as in our homes we listen the we listens the azan 5 times a day. That's good, Tashriq. We listen the azan 5 times a day. The sunnat of hearing azan, first is repeating after azan. Allah's messenger Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever you hear the azan, say what the muazzin is saying. For example, muazzin is saying Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar, you can repeat those words.
Sir, I repeat all the time. I
Oh,
repeat
that's
all the
good.
time.
That's good. Because, as I told you, that the Islam is the very easy and flexible religion. Allah gave us reward, Allah gave us blessings just by saying the words without doing any physical effort. If we say those words, Allah will surely give us a blessing. So, the first sunnat of hearing azan is that whatever the muazzin is saying in the azan, you can repeat those words, as this thing is also said by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Whenever you hear the azan, say what the muazzin is saying. It's also mentioned in the Sahih Bukhari. Okay, except when he says hayya ala salah, except he when he say hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Okay, we say la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Okay, why we say this one? We have to say the complete azan. We didn't say hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Okay, it means that hayya ala salah means come towards salah, come towards namaz. Hayya ala falah means come towards success, come towards the salvation of Allah. So the muazzin is calling the people towards masjid. When we are repeating the sentences, so the whole azan is giving us a reward. But these sentences are